Good evening. Acharya Fleet Mall here for Shambhala Mountain Center. Welcome to day 4 of the Beyond Mindfulness Conference. Our theme for this next set of presentations is mindfulness in daily living. So if you've just joined, if this is the first evening that you're watching, welcome. And really encourage you, whether you've just joined or you've been here every evening, to take the time to post down in the comments section a little something about where you're from, what you're doing, maybe your impression of the conference so far. We really love hearing from you, and it's been just one of the best parts for me of this, to read all the comments and really connect with these voices in this community we're building from all over the world, which is 27,000 strong at least, from 135 different countries. So I wanted to recap a little bit for you what we had on day 3, and those day 3 videos will be available for another 24 hours. So if I could just recap that a little bit. First of all, the two interviews that I had the privilege of doing with Dr. Kelly McGonigal, health psychologist at Stanford University, and with Dr. Rick Hanson, the author of Buddha's Brain, were just both a tour de force. And we've gotten really positive comments from both of those presentations. And just what an education, both of them, a thorough introduction to the neurobiology, the neuropsychology of mindfulness, of stress transformation, which the point that Dr. McGonigal talked about, that we really should be talking rather than stress reduction or stress management, really stress transformation, and the neurobiology of compassion as well, and courage. And it was just really fascinating. If you haven't watched those two interviews yet, please do watch them, because it's really practical, positive knowledge that can really support us and inspire us to go further with our mindfulness practice. The presentations by Holly Gailey, Shastri Holly Gailey, and Acharya Dan Hesse were so heartfelt and so powerful, and getting into the nitty-gritty of how we work with the challenges of our life, and how we actually develop courage and fearlessness, not as the absence of fear, but the willingness to really be with fear, and realize that fear is not necessarily the enemy, that it's our fear and our resistance to fear that's more of a difficulty. And both of these were just so practical and so heartfelt, really based on the foundation from day 2, I guess it was, where we really got a lot of teachings on developing a ground of self-compassion, of maitri or metta, of loving kindness, basic friendliness for our own being. And then these presentations on day 3 were really about then leaning into the challenges of life. As well, the presentations from Susan Piver and Shastri Nick Krantz, also very practical teachings and advice on working with the challenges of everyday living, and in relationship, in our personal lives, in our work life, and leaning into these challenges, stepping outside of our comfort zone and developing the courage, the self-compassion, the compassion for others, to lean into the challenges. Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche, the founder of Shambhala, often spoke of living in the challenge. And I think that was very much the spirit of our day 3 presentations. And again, I just can't recommend, well, really all of them. Oh, and I don't want to forget the wonderful presentation by Richard Riak, taking us through compassionate abiding, this practice developed by Ani Pema Chodron. Again, a tour de force by President Richard Riak, so eloquent and so heartfelt. So just another really rich day of wisdom teachings on the practices of mindfulness and compassion. So before I talk about this evening's presentations, I want to lead a short mindfulness exercise, a contemplation based on Dr. Rick Hanson's work. And I also want to mention, if you are on the conference site, if you're watching on YouTube, you might want to come back to the conference site. And right below the window where you're watching me right now, is that link that after this presentation will take you to all the day 4 presentations. They'll be immediately available. And right above the video window that I'm in, you'll see the icons up there. And there's an icon called Radical Responsibility. And there you'll have access to actually enroll at this point for the Radical Responsibility course, which will begin on June 8th. All the information about it is there. I'm really excited to offer this online course, this online version of a live training I've been offering all over the United States and Europe for 15 years now. And I'm really excited to be able to offer this online in partnership with Shambhala Mountain Center. And if you'd like to know more about that work before deciding to enroll, we're doing a free webinar through Shambhala Mountain Center. And you can also sign up for the free webinar called 7 Keys for Mindful Leadership right above here by clicking on that Radical Responsibility icon. So if you would, take a good posture, as we've been doing, whatever kind of seating arrangement you have. Taking a moment to adjust your posture so it feels uplifted and naturally dignified. Bringing your attention to the contact between your body and the chair or the cushion or the ground. And then extending that attention and awareness throughout your body to that whole field of actual tactile sensation, sensate experience, from head to toe, the surface of the skin, all the sensations that arise and fall away with the contact between our skin and the clothing, the air passing across our nostrils and lips. And also all of the internal sensations, the overall weight and mass of our muscles and bones. Sensations of muscle relaxation or tension. Any aches or pains that may be present. Perhaps as we're slowing down, becoming more grounded, we can feel our heartbeat or our pulse. And if we notice ourselves observing these sensations, see if we can relax into just directly feeling the sensations without the need for a feeler or a subject, but rather just resting our mind, resting our attention, our awareness in that flow of sensate experience moment to moment. All the sensations that arise and fall away with each in-breath and each out-breath. All the external and internal sensations throughout the body. Our other sense perceptions, sight, sound, smell, taste. And also a willingness to feel whatever's going on for us emotionally. We often don't notice our emotions until they're very pronounced, but there's always subtle layers of mood or emotional tone present, anywhere from gladness and happiness, contentment, peace, to frustration, anger, fear. Just willing to feel whatever's there, directly experiencing it in the moment. Just welcoming and greeting what arises moment to moment at the level of body, at the level of heart, if you will, and then the thoughts that are coming and going as well, our cognitive experience. Breath after breath, relaxing into an inclusive, accepting, unbiased awareness of our present experience, just greeting what arises, not trying to put ourselves in any particular experience or maintain any comfort zone, but just welcoming what's there, even what's uncomfortable or painful, with interest and appreciation, recognizing it's simply part of our humanity. Within this ground of direct experience of our body, heart, and mind, continually coming back to that ground, I would like to invite you to do 3 contemplations adapted from Dr. Rick Hanson's work. Based on this idea of the negativity bias, that our brains have evolved in such a way, due to the obvious paradigm of survival, to pay much more attention to uncomfortable sensations, to danger, to fear, than to times when we're feeling okay. Anytime there's any sense of discomfort or fear or danger, our memory lights up. The acuity of our memory increases dramatically. We remember with vivid detail, and those memories go directly into our long-term memory. However, when we're feeling just fine, it's a nice sunny day, we're enjoying ourselves, unless we really focus on this, it does not go into long-term memory. And the level of detail of our memory is much diminished. So in our conditioning, there's a lot more negativity than positivity, if you will. And depending on our life experience, it could be to the extreme, but we all tilt towards the negative. And I think that's obvious in our society and in the prevalence of negativity in our media and our entertainment and our news and what we talk about over the backyard fence and at the water cooler and so forth. So coming back to the body and breath, these 3 contemplations are designed to rebalance the brain and based on this idea of neuroplasticity, gradually restructure our brain so that the tilt is less to the negative and more to a default resilience and positive outlook. So being with our body, being with our breath, bring to mind the reality that right here, right now, we're safe. Wherever you are, I'm imagining you're in a relatively safe, secure environment. I hope that's true. And if it is true, to the extent that it's true, just keep bringing to mind this feeling of being safe. Like right here, right now, I'm safe. I'm okay. That may be obvious conceptually, but we need to keep bringing it into our mind, repeating it and holding it in our mind so that we take this into our brain, our nervous system, sort of breathing it into our bones. Right here, right now, I'm safe. I'm safe. Just keep repeating that until you actually feel that quality of safety in your body, heart, and mind. The second contemplation is that right here, right now, my basic needs are met. I'm well resourced. I have what I need: food, warmth, shelter, facilities, water, and I know how to meet my needs and I know how to ask for help. So that feeling of being resourced. And maybe there's been times when we didn't feel resourced, but bring to mind the reality that right here, right now, we are resourced. Safe and resourced. And then finally, bringing to mind the reality that right here, right now, we are connected to other people. Bring to your mind, to your mind's eye, your loved ones, your friends. Feel yourself part of an interdependent web of caring human relationships. Feel yourself connected to this global community of caring human beings who are passionate about bringing mindfulness and compassion into the world. So just staying with this feeling safe, resourced, and connected. Safe, resourced, and connected. Breathing that into our nervous system, into our bones. Safe, resourced, and connected. Thank you. That's working with 3 parts of our brain. The so-called reptilian brain, which is all about avoiding and about survival. So we were giving that part of our brain the message that we're safe, so it can relax somewhat. The alarm bells can disengage for the moment, and we can actually relax and have that part of our brain not so engaged. Our limbic brain, and it has to do with many things, but it has to do with approaching getting our needs met. So that idea that we feel resourced, again, is sending a positive message to that part of our brain. And then finally, our neocortex, which is about many things, including our executive function and our capacity for abstract thought and so forth, is also about our capacity for complex social interactions and human connections. So again, with the message of being connected, we're sending a positive message to that part of our brain. And if we could remember to do this, even 30 seconds for each contemplation, a minute and a half, and to do that 3 or 4 times a day, we would be gradually rewiring our own brain so it tilts to a default mode that is less negative, less anxious, more resilient, and happier, actually. Okay, well, let's talk about day 4, mindfulness in everyday life. So we have another wonderful lineup for you. We have a short video of Sakyan Mipam Rinpoche, head of the Shambhala lineage, participating in the Boulder 10K race. Very well-known and venerable 10K race, the Boulder in Boulder, Colorado. Ken Wilber, Colorado native and the founder of the integral psychology movement, integral theory movement, is going to do a presentation and make a really clear distinction between the difference and the relationship between waking up on the one hand and growing up on the other. Waking up being the spiritual context and growing up being more the psychological context. Both of these very valid. They have a relationship, and at the same time they're different. So that will be a fascinating presentation with one of the great thinkers of our time. Lama Sultan Alioni from Tara Mandala, with her great book, Feeding Your Demons, I believe it's called based on the Chud work, but a very practical, bringing Chud practice into a very practical realm of working with our challenges in our emotional life. She's going to present that work. Alexander Shempen Sensei, who's a master teacher of Ikebana, Japanese flower arranging, in particular of the Kalpa school of Ikebana, founded by Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche, is going to do a presentation and help us really connect that with how to connect with sacredness through our sense perceptions. Acharya Dan Hesse is also going to explore the relationship between mindfulness and sacredness. Mindfulness and sacredness. Sacredness is a term used a lot in the Shambhala tradition for our connection with life and with the world when the fog dissipates, right? And we're actually seeing and experiencing life directly through our more awakened sense perceptions. Susan Shea is going to teach us the importance of self-compassion in the workplace. Acharya Susan Shea has been working in the corporate sector her whole career, bringing mindfulness and emotional intelligence into major corporations. And so she's going to talk about mindfulness and the workplace. Catherine Kaufman, who's a Zen priest and a poet, is going to share the walking meditation practice with us. And then finally, Christine Caldwell, a professor at Naropa University, will discuss why mindfulness of body is essential to our practice of bringing mindfulness into the world, this somatic approach. So again, I would really encourage you to watch all of these videos. They're fabulous. And to post comments below each video. We really want to hear from you. And it's a way to build community around this work and really to share this, get this out to your friends and family and loved ones so we can keep building this community. And really, Dr. Rick Hanson was talking about what we really need is we need this impact of, like, when we get to the point where we have 1 billion people meditating, right? 1 billion people practicing mindfulness and compassion, this could actually change the world, change humanity forever. So we can start that process by expanding this community. And again, I'd like to remind you that you can, if you're on the conference website, if you're on YouTube, please come back. And right below this video is where you click to access day 4 videos. They're all available right now. And above, if you go to that radical responsibility icon, you can sign up for the free webinar, which will happen about a week from now, and or you can enroll in the Radical Responsibility course, which you'll be able to do as a cohort, as a community, or on your own schedule, either way. So again, welcome to day 4, and I'm really excited to watch all this next series of videos and also to read all of your comments.